You know what's strangest about evolution? Sometimes it creates creatures that look like they were designed by a drunk horror movie artist after watching Alien. Imagine a meter-long boneless tube with 7 holes on its sides and a mouth that looks like a cross between a circular saw and a vacuum cleaner. Add the fact that this thing has been living on Earth for 300 million years, and you get the sea lamprey, a creature that will make you believe in aliens. "300 million years isn't just a number. During this time, dinosaurs appeared and disappeared. Hundreds of animal species have come and gone, and our slippery friend just kept on swimming. And not just swimming. In the 1950s, this aquatic beast managed to practically destroy the fishing industry in North America's Great Lakes. Not bad for a creature without a brain. Well, more accurately, with a brain smaller than its nose. Yes, you heard that right. A lamprey's nasal organ is about twice the size of its brain. It's literally a swimming nose with teeth. And you know what's even more amazing? It has just one nostril, located on top of its head. Imagine what it's like to smell through the crown of your head. Now let's talk about what the lamprey has for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Spoiler alert, if you're a fish, you might want to look away. This aquatic vampire attacks its prey in a way worthy of the best horror films. First, it attaches itself with its circular mouth to the fish's body, and believe me, this isn't ordinary suction. People who've experienced it say the suction force is stronger than the most powerful vacuum cleaner. Even Coyote Peterson, the guy who voluntarily lets various creatures bite him, was impressed. But that's just the beginning of the fun. Inside this sucker hides a tongue with sharp teeth that extends forward and literally drills a hole in the victim's body. And then the real vampire party begins. The lamprey injects an anticoagulant to prevent blood clotting and can ride its prey like a personal food truck for several days. Look how cleverly it does this. While the lamprey enjoys its bloody feast, it calmly breathes through those 7 holes on its sides. These are its gill channels, working like tiny pumps. They contract and expand, pushing water through while the mouth is busy with more gastronomic affairs. Now, that's what I call a true professional. Here's what's really impressive. Often a whole gang of lampreys attacks one fish, leaving marks on the victim's body that look like the work of a mad tattoo artist. And 6 out of 7 fish don't survive this encounter. They die not from blood loss, but from infections that enter the wounds. Just look, lampreys can even attack pike, predators that everyone usually fears. But you know what's truly amazing? Right now, you're seeing how these bloodthirsty creatures begin their lives as cute little worms without mouths or eyes. They burrow into mud or sand and live there for up to 8 years, just filtering water and collecting nutrients. Can you imagine? 8 years of just lying around and filtering. It's like spending our entire childhood and teenage years lying on the couch with a cocktail straw. But then something like a reverse superhero transformation happens, right before our eyes. Eyes appear, and instead of a harmless mouth opening, that nightmare sucker with teeth grows. And that's when the real fun begins. In 1 year of active life, each lamprey manages to destroy about 18 kilograms of fish. Now look at what happened when these creatures got into the Great Lakes. In 1835, people built a shipping canal, and lampreys, which previously lived only in the Atlantic Ocean, got a VIP pass to new waters. Niagara Falls held the defense for a long time, but after the Welland Canal was deepened, lampreys threw a real party there. From 1921 to 1939, they captured all the Great Lakes, turning them into their personal buffet. But things get most interesting when it's breeding time. Lampreys choose a stream by following the scent left by other lampreys. And then the real construction begins. They drag stones that can weigh twice their own body weight. The female digs a depression in the sand and lays up to 100 eggs there, while the male attaches himself to her neck during mating. Romance, lamprey style? True, a few weeks after this, all adults die. But by this time, new larvae have already hatched from the eggs, and this whole strange cycle begins anew. And here's what's truly astounding. These creatures are covered in so much slime that it's practically impossible to hold them in your hands. It's like trying to grab wet soap, except the soap is fighting back. And the slime doesn't just make them slippery, it protects them from various parasites. Nature literally gave them a personal protective suit made of slime. When people realized that lampreys were causing havoc in the Great Lakes, they started fighting back. They used special dams that caught lampreys both mechanically and electrically. Can you imagine an electric lamprey catcher? As well as chemicals to destroy the larvae. And it worked. Though unfortunately, non-parasitic lamprey species were also affected. Yes, you heard right, there are vegetarian lampreys. But let's think for a moment. These creatures have been living on Earth for 300 million years. They saw dinosaurs come and go. They survived several mass extinctions. And their attach and drink blood strategy still works flawlessly. Maybe they know something we don't? Even more interesting is that lampreys are among the few living creatures without jaws. They belong to the most ancient group of vertebrates, the jawless fish. It's like meeting a living dinosaur, except this dinosaur looks like a cross between an eel and a vacuum cleaner and acts like a vampire. And you know what? Lampreys don't have stomachs. Seriously, how can you live without a stomach? It's like a car without a gas tank. Seems impossible, but lampreys somehow manage. They just digest food directly in their intestines. Efficient? Maybe not. Does it work? 300 million years say yes. Now imagine that somewhere in the ocean's depth swims a creature that's older than the first dinosaurs, has no bones, jaws, or stomach, breathes through holes in its sides, smells through the top of its head, and is so successful that it nearly destroyed the fishing industry in one of the world's largest freshwater basins. Maybe that's why lampreys live so long. They're so strange that even evolution doesn't know what to do with them. In the end, perhaps the main lesson lampreys can teach us is that sometimes being weird is an advantage. You don't need to follow evolution's conventional rules, have bones, jaws, or a stomach. Sometimes it's enough to just find your own way of existing, even if that means being an aquatic vampire with a nose on top of your head, and stick with it for 300 million years. After all, if something works, why change it? See you soon!